In 1620, while the Mayflower was in Provincetown, 18 of its men sailed in a small shallop, searching for a place to live. They came to present-day Eastham, where they were met by a group of Nauset. After a brief but violent encounter, the English left towards today's Plymouth. In 2020, we remember this first encounter. We explore its meanings for today and tomorrow.
Good evening. I'm Debra DeJonker-Berry, the Library Director, and welcome to our Sunset Series. I'm here with the Eastham Town Administrator, Jackie Beebe, one of my heroes, and we are here to talk about the commemoration, the 400 commemoration. And Jackie, do you have any opening comments you'd like to say before we dive in?
No, I think, thank you for inviting me here. It's my privilege to be the TA in Eastham and to be part of this huge commemoration. I think it's very interesting.
Why do you think it's important to the town, especially, when we planned this commemoration years ago, we never thought we'd be in the circumstances we are now. And can you tell us a little bit about why you think it might be particularly important in this particular time?
Well, I think that's really interesting. I was, trying to think through some of the issues, and I know when we started to talk about this, it was a little bit controversial because it is our history, but there's also a history of negative things that go along with it. And but I think particularly at this time, we have, a global pandemic, which we've had throughout the ages, right? And certainly one of which is associated with the arrival of Europeans in our new world, right? So that's happening, and also the whole racial overtone and the discussion of what Black lives, that whole Black Lives Matter and racial issues in our country over the time, and certainly that's a factor in this discussion too. So it's so interesting to me that all of it is happening at once. Not a good thing, but certainly it enriches the conversation.
Yes, I agree that it does. And, when we started this commemoration process, we talked about education.
Yes.
And that this was an opportunity for us to learn about our history, and even, I come from Greek and French ancestry, and they came over on a boat, but it's still, I feel I'm responsible for the land I'm occupying right now, and it's important to learn that story. And so, we did the story that Ian Saxene wrote, that, here it is, and in the idea that everybody reads it, but now all the themes from that time we're living it. Exactly.
It is. It's so strange and wonderful and terrible and frightening. And it really helps me to take a look at how frightening it must have been for the Nauset tribe to have something overtake them that they couldn't see or hear or realize, a pandemic. It's scary, and it's out there, and people are dying, and you don't understand it, and you don't know how to protect yourself from it, and you have to, in some ways over history, people have made up all these reasons why bad things are happening, like leprosy. Everyone thought that was an act of God. It was a bacteria, so I just can't imagine. In the age of information that we live in, we're scared, we're terrified, we're having trouble adapting to this new scenario. Imagine when there's no information and it just starts to happen to you and your loved ones.
And I think it also gives us perspective on the amount of courage and determination and fortitude, regardless of which group you are looking at from that past, how strong these people were. And, and in many ways, how strong their faith was in whatever it was that, they believed in.
Yeah, and I think on the other side coming from the European side. I think throughout history, people have moved from place to place, and disease has moved from place to place with them, and none of them moved the disease intentionally. So it was always a matter of they were seeking something new, something different, some freedom from oppression. And unfortunately, in coming here, the oppression continued with another group of people, which is, I don't believe, would have been their intent at all, but it happened nonetheless, right?
When we talked about starting the commemoration, the town formed a committee and provided some funding. Looking back, how do I say it? Do you think that having all of that in place in some ways was fortuitous, that we have a committee that are willing, to kind of lead a conversation?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think that was I was not particularly excited about it until I understood it better. And I think that's where my buy-in came from, was having the conversation and learning something new. And I've always been a student of history. I was a political science major in college, and you had to do a lot of reading and writing and analysis of history in order to do that. And one of the things that I learned in this whole process was I read the book 1492, and I learned all kinds of things that I didn't know about that time that really surprised me. It's like, so there's a piece of it that when you go back over history, are you looking for the truth or some balance of the information from all sides of the story, because the story is told by more than one person, right? So that's what's interesting to me about this conversation. And then add what's happening in the world. It's just it is amazing and fortuitous, I think.
Jackie, thank you so much for speaking with us tonight. Have a great evening, everyone.
My name is Joanna Hollick. I hope that you're enjoying the Sunset Series so far. In addition to the Sunset Series, Eastham 400 is also producing a second program called the Campfire Series, which will take place on Sundays in July and August. The Campfire Series is a series of 1-hour-long videos that will focus more in depth on some of the themes that we discuss here at the Sunset Series. The first Campfire Series video, which will be released on July 5th, is a recording of a presentation given by Ian Saxton last fall, in which he discusses his book, The Story of the First Encounter at Nauset. The second Campfire Series video, which will be released on July 13th, is a presentation given by Mark Adams, as he talks about the changing environment and landscape here on Cape Cod. The Campfire Series videos can be found in the same places that the Sunset Series videos can be found, on our Eastham 400 YouTube channel or at eastham400.org. We hope that you will join us for this series. Thank you.